I'm Edie Lush, and I'm here inside the Hub Culture studio. It is Davos, it's 2022, and it is pretty warm in here. Boris, Bohrer-Bilowitzki, the Chief Revenue Officer from Copper, has stopped by my sauna. Thank you so much. Tell me, first of all, what is Copper? What do you guys do?
So we originated as a custodian for the digital asset space. About
Meaning
4.5.
a holder.
Yes, security holdings, well, in this case for crypto. End of 17, the first little bull run happened, and at that point, quite a lot of people got interested. And the very first thing that they looked for was custody. And at that time, it was the custodial side of things was very retail driven, to put it lightly. And if you would like to look for something more institutional grade, there was nothing out there. So we set out to build this, and from that point onwards, it morphed into quite a lot more that we do apart from the custody. But the custodial layer is the foundation of everything. Okay,
just give me a sense of what else you are doing now that potentially you're a bit surprised took off.
Well, the DeFi stuff is in
just describe DeFi for me.
Decentralized finance. So you are not trading on centralized venues like NYSE, Nasdaq. Which is more peer-to-peer, so you basically cut out middlemen. That imposes quite a few risks, and the infrastructure layer is extremely important there. So what wallets are you interacting with? How to interact with the smart contract? So on the DeFi side, there was quite a lot that we've done. Not so much on the interest side of things up until about a year ago from our core client base. We've got around 500 clients, about 15 billion in assets under custody.
15 billion what?
Dollars.
Okay.
And we decided to kind of go with the market. DeFi was one of the things, but there is much more. One of the core products that we have is called Clearloop, which is basically an off-exchange settlement piece. So right now, the industry is built in a way that you need to pre-fund venues, the FTXs, Binances of this world. And that comes, of course, with problems, especially if you want to deal with people that are more on the traditional side. For the crypto native guys, it's okay, and it's kind of calculated into the risk. And out of our over 500 clients, about 75% of them are trading firms and crypto funds. Okay. So they have a little bit of a different approach than a retail investor, to put it lightly.
Well, I've got to ask you, what do you make of the recent move in crypto?
Good. It was necessary because
we're talking about the downward correction. Are we talking about a correction?
Well, we are talking about a correction. If it's a bear market yet, it's to be seen. But it was absolutely necessary because basically what you have been experiencing is just a absolute frenzy on the retail side. Okay. And now with the shift from retail more into the institutional side, which is a natural thing that occurs. I mean, in the equity side of things, we saw this from like 1920s, 30s onwards. It just took a longer time. Yeah. But of course, with the macroeconomic situation that we find ourselves in right now, or definitely will find ourselves in for the next 2 years, the interest of where I can generate alpha is going to be of paramount importance. And with that shift, retail getting less, institutional getting more, I don't see that it's going to be for a long time. But what it definitely did, it's very healthy for the market as a whole because it kind of flushes out a lot of the dirt, if you want to call it for that.
Okay, so what's next? It sounds like you're a believer in the future. So what does the future hold?
Well, wow, that's a broad question. I don't think we have enough time to kind of cover this. But one of the core things is that we've already seen some of the big names in the traditional world stumping in. And I'm talking about the traditional names that you are aware of, the Millenniums, the Blackrocks and so on. Now, with that, of course, what we will see is, on the one side, for the time being, still an interest in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the other currencies, which there are about 15,000 by now, which is ridiculous to a certain extent.
How many should there be?
Well, it depends for what. Now, the interesting part is tokenizing those securities. And that is something that we're focused on. So instead of, currently when you look at the pairs that are available, if you want to trade Apple, you trade it mainly with dollars or you have a swap. What this world allows you to do is unlock value and optionality where there is current none. So for a big bank, for example, and we, for example, just signed the global partnership with State Street to provide them with the core infrastructure for their morphing into that digital layer. The interesting part is that first and foremost, settlements are going to be much faster, not this T+2, T+3 situations. Yep. It's more or less instant. But more importantly, you allow for a bank, for example, an interesting topic is that you can tokenize assets that are sitting on your balance sheet, take them off balance sheet, and have subsequently a completely different capital requirements ratio that you would need to uphold along like Basel III, etc. So that's very, very interesting, and it just unlocks value. It's faster, it's better, and quite frankly, in 2022, where we are now, surely the technology must be better than core banking systems that are built on cobalt that was created in the 70s. So that's what we stand for.
Interesting. Thank you so much, Boris, for coming by and explaining a little bit about what you do. We look forward to continuing the conversation.
Thank you.